think that the job market is super competitive right now, and employers are looking for kids who kind of go above and beyond, and are, building stuff to stand out and showcase your projects and stuff on there. And it's kind of like a resume that you can actually look at interactively. So, yeah.
You pretty much gave it all away, right? Especially right now, there's so many different things you can do with AI, but my personal favorite is using it to like build sites, because sites are publicly accessible, right? Anybody can go to them, and especially right now, this is the, as you iterated, this is the main way to stand out when it comes to employers, but also networking and showing what you know, and more so having that uniqueness to yourself. So since today's all about building a website, I thought instead of making a presentation, I'd build a site. So built this to walk everybody through what's involved with building a site, as well as having some additional resources. So we'll use this today as a guide for the conversation. This is meant to be interactive because there's a lot of people who are technical, but there's a lot of people who are getting immersed into what's involved in the software world. So please, at any point, interrupt, ask your questions. There's no, there's nothing that isn't worth conversation. So to start, can everybody go to build.ustnexus.club if you have a computer? Otherwise, you can go on your phone.
And if anyone needs a laptop or something, or theirs isn't working, just let me know. You can borrow mine.
Just a quick poll: who has a LinkedIn? Why do you have a LinkedIn?
To connect with people, potential people.
Who else?
Just to network, like a networking.
Just get to talk to a lot of people on it. More than anything, it's just connections, and then also job applications.
We do have Jonathan Kaiser in the house today. Dr. Kaiser, before LinkedIn, how do people network?
That's a great question. Very difficult.
Yeah.
There would be, you might get an email saying, hey, people are meeting at this restaurant or this bar at this time and place, and then you show up. But that's it, basically.
Yeah, you gotta call them or text them, get
Yeah.
their personal details, right? You basically had to meet somebody in person in order to get their access to that
You
content.
had to receive a push notification and then physically go someplace.
Wow.
I start there because LinkedIn is phenomenal. Social media is phenomenal because everybody's accessible, and unfortunately, since it's standardized, it's really hard to differentiate yourself when you're using a platform like LinkedIn, because it just shows the same layout as everybody else and really doesn't enable you to have much creative reign. So with that, everybody has different end goals when it comes to their activity online. Some are looking for jobs. Some are looking to build a company. Anybody who's building a product or a company? Hey, don't be shy. Raise your hands so they know. Yeah, a few people in the house who are building their own company. And with that, there's no limitation when it comes to building an online presence. With that, it's changed radically in the last 2 decades. But just to go back even a decade ago, what was involved with building a website was pretty high degree of either technical or resources, meaning you either had to spend a lot of money or you had to hire and allocate people towards solving that problem. And me personally, I started learning how to code right around 2020, and luckily we have so many resources online that can help you with adhering to that learning curve. But it's still a steep learning curve. You still have to learn what's involved in building software and then actually do it line by line. And what's changed in the last few years is that challenge to building something has been exponentially reduced, because now you can interact, or you can build something with the same level of simplicity as you do talking to ChatGPT. And what we're gonna be speaking about today, but first we'll talk a little bit more about what's involved within software development, for those who are being introduced to, websites and building. And then we'll actually build something to showcase how easy it is and how much that learning curve has been reduced. So we're gonna basically try to summarize what's involved in SaaS or software. And the analogy I like to use is making a website or making an app is a similar process as writing a book. I say that because writing a book, if you reduce what a book is down to first principles, it's text filled in pages that are in chapters and all binded up in into one thing. And that's really what software is. Meaning, this website that you're looking at here is stored in what's called a repository, which you could think of a repository as a place to store all of the code. And within that, it has a bunch of folders that have a bunch of files, and then the files have, letters that are sometimes words, other times it's just jargon. And if you have the right combination of letters and words, that makes an application. Don't ask me how, but that's how that essentially can be summarized of what software and making an app is. Thoughts?
Questions?
Concerns? Okay, who can explain what an IDE is, or say if you've heard of an IDE? Zin, what's an IDE?
IDE is an integrated development environment. It is where you, it's a tool that you use to just edit the code.
Cool. So IDE, the most popular one is?
Visual Studio Code.
And Visual Studio Code is actually a Microsoft product. Think like OneDrive or Excel, similar product within the Microsoft ecospace, just specifically used for developing code, right? And this tool allows you to write the code, but the code needs to be stored somewhere. So that's what we were speaking about earlier about repository, which is where you are storing that code that you're writing. And then within that, you need to host the repository somewhere, which can just be translated to what computer is this folder and file going to be stored on. And oftentimes server is the same thing as a computer, but it's the same difference here. And to access this code that you wrote, you need to access it by a domain. What's another way of saying domain?
So a domain is just a name for your site. So like www.google.com, that's a domain.
Yes, it is.
I have a fun fact. So like if you the more like easy a domain is to find, so like if you have noun.com, like I don't know, school.com, it's more expensive. And my domain that I wanted was sponge.com. So I actually like bartered with this guy the past 4 days, and he initially had it listed at $400,000. So basically the price of a house. And we got it down to like where I'm gonna pay, this is still insane, but $2,000 a month that I want to keep the domain. But like in some cases it's worth that if the traffic you have on your website and like having that like short of a name can like get you that many profits, I guess, essentially.
It's easy to remember and anybody can just.
Actually, we do have some finance guys in the room. Domains, this is like a great investment. I buy probably a domain a week. Like I own UST.lol. Why? Because it was $1.50. And if UST wants to buy it for me, 100 years from now for, $2,000, I'll sell it. Yeah. So on this website here, by the way, this is a domain, right? So build.ust, nexus.club. This is making it easier to access this information. So feel free to click some of these links, but one of the links that I have here is access to the domains, because you imagine if you want to build a personal site, like Dr. Kaiser just bought his. What was yours?
I think my name, just
Yeah.
that,
JonathanKaiser.com or .org.
.org.
Yeah. You could just buy like your name and see if it's available. So Actually, do you have a domain?
Yeah, I'm trying to see how much it costs.
Yeah.
My domain was like 3K, but
Do you have a personal one?
no, that's a service.
That's the card.
I'm not paying for it.
What's your last name?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
H-A-R-E-N.
So you come over here and search for a domain.
Oh,
Let's see, yeah, CarterVanHerden.com is available.
dang, it's cheap.
$5.
I'd be worth one there.
Y'all take a moment, look up your domain, see if it's available. And I guess if you want to be a little more technical, the ending here is called the TLD. The most popular TLD is .com, right? Everybody knows .com. St. Thomas uses this .edu. And there's some restrictions, like sometimes you have to be a school in order to have .edu. Or you have to be, yeah, .gov, right? So you can't buy .gov, but you can see when you search your name, that is one of my favorites right now. But they start off cheap, by the way, and then they get expensive.
I like that. That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's the marketplace for this, or like, who decides what price and how does GoDaddy work? Like, who's behind GoDaddy?
Phenomenal question. So domains are, it's actually through a non-governmental organization called ICANN. And ICANN basically has the entire registry of all domains. But what they do is they share it with DNS providers like GoDaddy or Squarespace. And so they have access to those domains, and it's a marketplace, but people who own the ending pretty much choose what to list those domains for, right? So there's a company that actually owns all of the .com domains, but then they sublease it technically to like a different company who can sell it additionally, but they have their markup, and so it's, right. I forget the name of the company that owns .com, but yeah, it's quite interesting. It's a interesting rabbit hole, but for our purposes, the nice thing is that you can buy the domain relatively easily, and if you went back before AI, it was quite comprehensive to learn how to buy this and then use it. You had to learn what DNS meant and CNAME and like how to basically connect the repository that we just spoke about to the domain. And luckily, now you don't have to really go learn what's all involved, because that took me myself like 6 months to finally understand what's involved in doing that manually. But with Power of AI, you can now buy the domain and then connect it to your website like within a few minutes, right? Or a few clicks.
Well,
That's right.
can I say something too quick?
Please.
So GoDaddy's one place you can buy domains. There's also lots of other websites. So like Vercel.com is like where one of my websites is currently hosted. I think, yeah. So like, and personally, like by the end of this session, we want you all to have a personal website hosted online if possible. You obviously can like do that if you want, you don't have to. But Weldon probably has a way of how he hosts. I have a way how I host. So like, it's personal, it's like what you want to do, but like I said, by the end of this, it would be awesome, and it's free on Vercel, so you don't have to pay initially at least, and then you can link a domain to that. In the same way GoDaddy does, but like they're just slightly different ways.
Yeah, we're starting off by really explaining the differences between the whole realm of software, right? Domain is like how you buy the domain, like using these platforms is where you buy the domain, and then you can connect it to your project, right? So just for seeing how much is stuck, who didn't know what repositories were before today? Okay. Kind of put you on the spot. Who can explain now what a repository is in their best ability?
Like stores code. It's like a vault.
We'll take it.
Stores all your code.
What about a domain? What's a domain in the back?
You got it.
I understand the concept, but I can't put it into words quite yet. Working on it though.
Okay, that's fine. Anybody else?
I think the main name of the website.
Yeah, it's where you buy the name to your website, right? Did y'all have access to this? Did you click around some of the websites that are on there? Just really want to make sure that that's there. And then we also have some videos there, so you see the YouTube link. So after today, if you were like, I kind of understood what that was, but I want to really understand it more, feel free to click the links in there. It does a good job of giving you a little more detail about what's involved. Wait, we're already halfway here. Okay, so getting to the exciting part, now that you guys know what an IDE is and a domain. One of my favorite AI tools is called Lovable, and I love Lovable because they made the whole process of making a site really, really easy. You didn't really have to know everything I just spat out about repository and domain. They just made it so that you could tell it what site you want to build, and they'll build it for you. So we can go to lovable.com here, lovable.dev, and actually I'll show. Okay, so it looks like this, which is very similar to ChatGPT. And same idea, you would tell it what you want it to build and it's gonna build it for you. So if you guys wanna find Lovable, because I wanna walk you guys through this and show the lack of complexity involved with building. Is this you guys?
Also, if anyone ever has questions during the whole time, just raise your hand and I can come answer them if you ever get stuck or you're not sure what's going on.
Should we do that after we, cool. Actually, we're gonna go ahead and build a site here, but one other thing, just like, when you're on ChatGPT and you see it doesn't really give you like much indication of like what you can do. But when you're on Lovable, you can come down here and scroll and see what other people have built and get an idea of like what's involved with building a site. So you can just like click on this one right here, and you see somebody built this project. What is this? A coaching app, right? So this is a full web app, meaning that it's like interactive and has information, but it's more dynamic. And come over here and click view. I like actually see the site. So you see it's connected to the domain here, and this is like a whole interactive site that somebody made, probably from talking to it. So going back here, I want to show before we launch our own. Oh, actually we need to sign in. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna create a new account here.
And while we're doing this, kind of think about like what you want your website to feel like. Like, what do you want it to look like? What colors? Like, what do you care about people seeing? You know, just like a lot of website design is just like creativity and just how you want it to look and feel.
And if you're trying to build a personal website, you probably have you probably want a picture of you up there, right? So you can just say, you can just drag and drop a picture in the front of that little text box and just say like, hey, this is what I want. Like, you can do that later too, but just keep in mind that you can add pictures and personalize it in any way you want.
Let's see how far you get, and then don't like rush or anything. But then afterwards, like, hey, if anyone wants to stick around and you won't fail like today, like I'll help you. Wait, aren't you doing cursor? I thought you said you were doing cursor after. You're not.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I think we can do a simple HTML site.
That's what I'm saying. Because then they can literally make a GitHub account, push that, and with one button it'll be live.
So y'all finished
which is
creating your
really
account? Everybody's there? Cool. So we'll go next is, we'll do dark mode, because always do dark mode. Finish.
Wait, I feel like that's been a question. If you use dark mode, raise your hand versus light mode. Often. If you're a light mode person, raise your hand.
Okay, so
Nice.
today I'm gonna say, make me a personal site for AI. I don't know how to spell this.
When
So
you
when I
go,
start,
yeah.
now there's a new feature where you can choose the themes. I like Obsidian. Okay, so the thing that's different from ChatGPT and this is you'll see on the left here, that's kind of where that chat interface goes, and this is essentially where you'll be talking back and forth with it, so like tell it what to do and what to build. And then on the left here is where you're gonna see it actually making the website. And what's cool is, earlier we were talking about an IDE, which is where you develop your, or you write your code. So it's actually going to write the code and show us the code that it's writing directly here, if you wanna see it. Not that you are forced to see it, but if you wanna see what it's making, you'll be able to see it directly on the left here. So let's see what it's saying here. I'll create a personal site that's tech focused. Cool. When they first launched, they let you choose the model, how they go. That's smart. Pay for it. Pay for it. Yeah. Oh, no, they still don't let you choose the model, but, and then you can see the different actions it's performing here. So this is using what's called agent mode, where it's doing different tool calling, meaning that it's calling different actions like which files to write the code on. Sometimes you can go search the web and find things if you need to like find logos or more information for your site. You know what would be fun? You could have told it, hey, go find my LinkedIn, learn about me, and make my site from there. We'll do that next probably. Has anybody launched a prompt into Lovable yet? Or what to do? Please click them over here. Really wants to make a really impressive site with it. Isn't he over here? No, just scroll through. When I first started, I used to read every single comment that it had, every single thought. Okay.
Alright, is anyone having issues?
Yeah. Is anybody like not sure where we're at right now? Like, is everybody like on track? Like, okay.
Okay, so gotta tell them to fix it. Almost done. Well, while we do that, connecting some of the other things we spoke about while I was finishing up developing the code here. You can see when you go to click publish up here, this is where that domain part that we were speaking about earlier is. Meaning, once this website is done, if I want to connect it to my domain, like waldomacquarie.com, I can just go ahead and add the domain directly here. But you can see that took, how long did that take for the site? Yeah, a few minutes. What would have taken a dozen people to make, working for a little while. It just made in a few moments. And it followed the theme and the guidelines. So actually what we'll do is quick preview, because I want to look at it for because you see right now we're still in Lovable, but let's pull the actual link for this. How would we rate the site that it generated? How's this looking for a personal site?
Fire.
Yeah, you like? We come click the link here. You see, I can open the site that it made for me. And this is a live site. Like I could send this to my mom and say, Mom, look at my new website. And she'd have access, right? And that just was 2 sentences for a description for what I asked her to make. And I can scroll through and you see the animations that are here. And I can even click. Did it create anything that I could click? No. But I could tell it like, this is a conversation. From here you can tell like, hey, add this, change this logo, or add a picture of me to the site.
Also, I think it's important to mention that anything you put on this, and if you publish it, it is on the internet, so like don't put anything that you don't want, exposed out on the interweb.
I've seen that.
Like,
So that's for the most part connecting everything we just spoke about. That goes into creating a site, right? Just to recap on some of the things So the IDE that we used was Lovable, right? Lovable has that code generation ability that used to exist with VS Code.
Question for you, if you publish the website, will it still have the lovable, tag in the URL? And then additionally, if you send it to someone, they can't edit the website, correct?
Correct. To the second part, nobody else can edit it besides you. And when it comes to the domain that you mentioned, right? So you see here, it ends with lovable.app. Today's, this first demo was more about, hey, look how quick and easy this was. This was, you can be making a copy and make you a full site. And there's ways to do this that give you way more customization and way more, more features that you can add to it. And part of the aspect of using Lovable is they are giving you the free tier. This is all for free. You guys didn't see me enter a credit card or anything like that, and so they allowed me to do that, just with the caveat that I'm using Lovable.app, right? But as you guys saw earlier, when I click this publish button up here, there's a part that says custom domain, which is how you could add the domain that you bought from GoDaddy or any one of those other sources directly to your site. So instead of having it be this random domain, WeldonAIAdventures.lovable, I can have it be the domain that I own, which is WeldonMcCory.com. And with Lovable, I believe they used to make it free to add the domain.
It's not anymore, you gotta pay for it.
All right, so they need, actually students, $12 now. Yeah, so, using a platform like this, they make it so easy, they're gonna charge you to add your domain. But if you are willing to embrace a little more complexity and have the access to more features, it's like the difference of going between, having a Tesla that can drive you, or, a Lamborghini that, you have to manually control and learn how to drive it. You have way more ability with that. It's the same way, so we can show you how to do this in a little more complex of a way, but then gives you way more features, and comes with the caveat of it's way more cost effective because you're just paying for the domain rather than paying the monthly recurring fee to Lovable. Is this in where you come in? Sure. Cool. All right, we give a round of applause to Zin.
And Weldon.
Yeah, I think you can just plug it in.
While Zin is plugging in, how much of a lift is to go from a static website, like, oh, this is my website, to something that has a backend that's collecting information, tell us a little bit about backend website development.
Phenomenal question. Yeah, you outlined it perfectly, right? I categorize it to these two levels to a website. There's one level which is more about information, right? Like you saw the site that we created there was just, hey, here's everything about me. Somebody's gonna go there and read about me, right? And it has a little bit of complexity. At the bottom, you saw there was the contact form, and so that's like a component, right? And that information, when somebody fills that form out, has to be sent somewhere. And you could do it the easy way, which is when somebody fills out that form, it just sends it to an email. But if you wanted to make this into a production app and basically have more utility from there, that's where you can create a full stack app, which then has a database on the back end. And when I say database, just imagine like Google Sheets, just with a little more customization, right? And to answer your question of how easy is it to go from a static site, level 1 site, to level 2? Actually relatively easy. Why? Because platforms like Lovable are integrating databases directly into their apps, so that way you can add users and sign in and things of that nature directly to your site. For the most part, you can within a day make something that has way more features and is interactive and has users. Even payments, you can have a e-commerce site up and running before the sunsets, just because you have that ability to not only have a site that people can go to domain-wise, but then has the ability to section each user's experience because they have the ability to sign in, because they have the database connected to it. And in addition, you can use third-party platforms like Stripe to add the billing and the payment directly to your site. So, you know, as long as you're willing to learn what's involved in making a relatively comprehensive app, like, okay, I gotta know what a database is, Superbase, right, which is the the SaaS version of Google Sheets, and you're willing to, either take the easy way, but that's gonna be a little more cost effective. It's gonna be a little more costly, like Lovable, because they're gonna charge you that monthly recurring. But if you wanted to essentially save on that cost and that recurring, you can use a platform like what Zin's gonna show us here, which is a more pure IDE that you are only paying for your usage of the AI rather than paying that required monthly fee ongoing. So it's more of a cost game, as well as being willing to be exposed to the actual code. You guys saw for the site that we created, our personal site, we didn't look at any code, right? But with other tools, you're able to see more of the code and be able to customize and add way more features to it.
So I will just show you so basically what is happening right now with Lovable is that all of your code is being kept by Lovable. If you want to edit it, you have to go through Lovable, pay the $25 a month in order for you to make any changes to your site. But like Weldon mentioned earlier, there's this thing called IDE, which is an integrated development environment, which is where you change your code. What is code, you might be wondering? Code is just a bunch of instructions. It's just a way for you to say, hey, put a button there, make the background black, put my picture there. Code is just instructions. So IDE is what you use to make changes to those instructions. Like how you write a book, you use Microsoft Word. How you write code is you use an IDE. So today I'm going to show you the same thing that Lovable does, but on a way that you can do it by yourself, free and cheap. So in order for you to do that, you have to download this thing called an IDE called Cursor. And you can just go on your Chrome and just type Cursor download, and then and then you can just click download over there. And if you guys have downloaded already, just let me know.
One thing you guys will notice is Lovable was in the web, meaning you didn't have to download anything. And with that, you kind of slightly restricted in terms of your features compared to like downloading a desktop app, which gives you way more compute and way more customization. That's it.
I'll also quickly just say, if you guys want to keep building after this is over, like we can write our emails up there. You can go to the club website. You can just email us or text us. Like I am happy to help you guys build a personal website, just because like it's so fun. Like it's so cool to have one, and like tell your friends, like show your friends these skills. Like this is a great thing for St. Thomas students to have. That's gonna set us apart from other students, like maybe from the U or different schools. So definitely like keep going after this is over. If you get confused, don't feel overwhelmed. You have like help.
And before we dive to that point, I started my website making experience back in February. That's when I started using Lovable. And since then, I've bought like probably close to 70 domains now. It's kind of addicting, like like building. Like I have an idea, and like before I would just like write my ideas out. And I was like, oh, I have an idea. Let me go make a site for that, and like make it accessible. And we're talking about using it for your personal, but it's easy to like share an idea that you have because it's now accessible for the domain, and you can like text your friends about that. Or let's say you're talking to an investor and you're pitching an idea. It's like, oh, here's an idea that I have. Here's the link. Compared to like, hey, let me email you my documents.
Another thing is, so when Weldon was just showing us Lovable, I kind of use ChatGPT for everything. Like it kind of knows what projects I'm working on, what I'm studying in school, everything. So I went into chat. I know it's not good to share all that information, but whatever. But I went into ChatGPT and was like, make me a Lovable prompt for a personal website based on like all the projects I'm working on and stuff. And that took me 5 seconds and spit out this huge prompt. And I think it came out with like a already like structured website kind of based on everything that I've shared that I'm working on with ChatGPT. So that's just another way to plug it a little bit better.
Just take your resume and throw it in the Lovable.
That's
just scrapes all of that and put it on the website.
Did you do that? Did you put your resume in?
So I'm doing it.
Fine, you'll have to show us it.
So, have you guys downloaded Cursor? You downloaded it? Okay. So when you get into coding. So you can go to documents, and then say personal.
And I'm gonna say it again, if we lose you, don't be scared, because when I first learned how to code, I was overwhelmed by directories and folders and like CS students take 6 months to learn this, so please don't feel expected to learn this.
2 hours.
In 10 minutes, yeah.
So once we have cursor, this is what cursor looks like. And as you can see on the right here,
Change to, web. That's like, this is. Oh, and then white, or light blue.
yeah, like we talked about it. There's no go.
Is it Command P? Or Command Shift P? Command Shift P? Yeah, and then type in light.
Is it up here?
And then enter.
Did that work?
Not really.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
should I go back on? Can you guys see? Is this horrible?
Yeah, one light, one light.
I'll try. Should we go off? I feel like they'll be able to see it better if
Is
it's
there
off.
nothing between this?
There's no, it's just on and off.
Do it off.
Off, okay.
Command Shift P.
Alright, dark mode.
Enter.
There's no, it doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
Alright, it's fine. So, like you saw earlier on Lovable, you have this little toggle on the right, which you can just say anything to. So now we can just say the same thing that you said to Lovable, and just say, build me a simple personal website in, yeah, let's see. Build me a simple personal website, and then, yeah, let's just say create. And then it will go ahead and write the code that Lovable did, but now it's in your computer. It's doing the same thing that Lovable does.
Ooh, right.
That's super nice.
Yeah, I would just keep it off.
There's like 8 different buttons on here and they all do the same thing.
There we go. That's good. That's good. Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
So it's doing the same thing that Lovable is doing on your laptop.
And again, after this session, if any of you guys want help having a website that you could type in today, like in whatever, like 30 minutes from now, feel free to stick around and we can help you do that if that's something you want.
So then, what's on the left-hand side?
So these are the folders that it's writing. This is the code. It's all on your laptop, stored locally, and okay. It's writing everything here, and now we can run this. Click. Go back. And boom. It built you this website that is on your computer. So now you can go back to cursor and just say, add a skills section on my website.
Sin, where did you click? Do you have the live server extension or was there a link that you just clicked?
I just click the live server. So once you have Lovable, or no, once you have cursor, you can just download this plugin. I'll show you how to do it later, but this is just a demo of cursor, how you can just run everything locally, and then you can build it until you are satisfied.
Oh yeah, Zin, can you show us your actual personal website too so they have a sense of what
Yeah.
you can make?
while we're waiting, I can show you my personal website that I built. So like Weldon said earlier, this is a domain. I bought zinandpay.com, it was available. And then I made it in like a Windows 95 theme. You can click about me and see my projects, things that I've built. And this is like a little feature on it, which is called some voice AI that I added in there.
To your question, Dr.
Hello, I'm Greg, Zin's AI representative. I can chat with you about his projects and what he's built.
Hey Greg, tell me about where Zin's latest projects. I need the microphone.
Microphone's right there.
Hello?
Oh, the microphone.
Oh,
Search bar.
the computer mic.
Oh, the computer might
Oh,
not
so,
be.
the part of like having the static site, compared to this, it's like, there's a level where you have to work quite a while to get some.
Zin has demoed this before, and it works great. You just have to trust.
Exponentially. This design is like integrate with numerous different extensions.
Sure.
He has the extension for the AI that he's speaking to here, right?
Where does like the cursor? Lovable.
Actually, right in the middle.
Hello, I'm Greg, Zin's AI representative. I can chat with you about his projects and what he's built.
Yeah, tell me about Zin's latest projects.
It looks like your message got cut off. Could you please specify which project or aspect of Zin's coding background you would like to know more about?
Just tell me the projects that he's worked on.
Zin has worked on the following projects. 1. Classfinder.ai. Description: an intelligent online class finding agent that helps users discover and enroll in courses. Technologies: React, Vite,
Alright, thank you.
Tailwind.
Alright, so those are the things that you can build with AI. That's all AI, by the way. And yeah, let's go back to our website. See where it is at.
By the way, I never knew about that extension. I just always told it, run and start to open the site.
You can also do that.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, bro. Getting some errors here.
So here we can select.
Oh yeah. Wiki wiki.
While Zen is loading us here, we dive for this demo. So, today we wanted to have a little more of like, less, hey, here's what AI is, and more of like, hands-on experience. When you start equipping y'all with the, tools that you can actually leverage. Curious if anybody wants to share their initial impressions and maybe what they built so far, or what they think.
I changed, all of you and Sophia, both of you and Sophia, my website that I just built.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Thank you, so.
Anybody else
I've
can
never
make
been
this
on
up?
Lovable.
Huh?
I've never been on Lovable.
Really?
Lovable before, so thanks.
Yeah.
Is it your personal
dear.
website,
Here it is.
Dr. Kaiser?
What's that?
Is it your personal
Yeah.
website?
I built like I Teamsed it to you, so it's on Teams.
What is this like?
No, Teams. Go to Teams.
Teams.
then.
Oh,
So if you log in and go to Teams, you'll have the.
Was anybody else able to get a site up? Show of hands. Was anybody else able? Did you guys create a Lovable account? Or?
I'm gonna wait to do it because I want to give it my undivided attention.
Fair. Yeah, that's why we had the build that.
Wow. Sorry.
Club, so that way all the information, because it's a lot all at once, is there, so that way you can watch more YouTube videos that explain a little more what's involved, and then all the links and like all the different ones, not just Lovable that exists, there's hundreds. I built my own. I was too scared to get one today. That you can use for building your own site. So this is more so that introduction of what's involved with AI, more than just using GPT for your homework.
And I don't know if we introduced Jonathan Kaiser. He's our club advisor. He works as you can see, the website he just built, the Associate Vice President of Academic
Look at
Technology.
that.
And yeah, so
And I'm not a coder or a developer.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he's very, very passionate about helping us grow this club and kind of, expand this to even broader than St. Thomas, hopefully. So, yeah, if you ever have questions, feel free to talk to Jonathan because he would love to talk to you, I'm sure.
100%. Thank you, sir.
You're saying. I like the themes you chose.
I uploaded my LinkedIn profile, my academic profile, and my CV, and did all the work.
Amazing. Yeah, and then you already own the domain, so
Yeah,
ladies
exactly.
just press a button and then have your domain there, and then it's up.
Exactly, you helped me get my domains
Yeah,
another time,
indeed.
so it all came together.
I like it. I like it. Awesome. So not to say it in any other way other than the positive, but if Dr. Kaiser can do it, anyone can do it, right?
55-year-old old man who is not a coder or a developer, yes, exactly.
And that's the start. Next time you make an app, all right? To close out, any questions, concerns, comments?
I guess just like for you guys, what's your experience been with using Cursor, at least for you, and developing like larger extensive apps? Just because I know that it tends to come up with a lot of garbage most of the time.
Yes. So I'm senior in CS, so I have a good background of development and understanding what's actually being written in the code. So that a lot of the time what happens with Cursor, you can build a site, but once you're trying to debug it, if you're running into an issue and you want to fix it, you get into a tough spot. So you gotta pick the models, what model you're using for you to get better output. So if you're trying to build something big and extensive, you gotta have a smart model that you're using, which sometimes costs money. So that's some of the issues with developing with Cursor or Lovable, things like that.
My experience was I started at Lovable in February, and I was on it for every day for 2 months and just really experimented what was possible there. And then to what Zin is saying, once you get to a decent place, if you want to add more and more features and turn it into from a static app to a full app, that requires bringing in different extensions, right? And then that requires basically a better model than what's available with Lovable. And now I would say that the models are so good that I've been able to build full stack apps in 1 day. By that I mean pretty complex sites that
That's
would
what
have been.
the airport life.
I took it down.
Oh, no.
Because I'm switching from DigitalOcean to AWS. It'll be out tonight, so I'll send that out. But yeah, I built airport tracker site and my own YouTube clone, right? So that would upload my own videos. And next time we'll do more show and tell of what we built. But today was more so just about showing where you can start. And the interesting thing is once you start, you build version 1, it's gonna iterate because it's all about adding more features. And the models are so good that it makes a big difference between which platform you use. You just gotta experiment, right?
I will say too, just how you can kind of tell when something's ChatGPT, say your friend sends you a text or and you're this is an AI generated message. You can tell stylistically, and the more you build these, I can tell just the fact that there's 3 bars here, the font, the 15 plus,
That's the same thing.
yeah, all of the style is very similar. So if you're a developer, you can tell when something's built with AI versus not. I wouldn't expect most people to be able to do that. But yeah, personally, I don't use, I never just put in a prompt, but again, that's because I've been coding now for 4 years, so I can just build it myself. But I would say to limit the amount of bugs, start small. Say add a button here that does this, right? Don't say build this entire thing, or if you want to change, because if you give it, just how if you're learning math or you're learning a subject and you go piece by piece, little bit, you're gonna be able to build it and learn the way you want to. Whereas if someone's just solve this integral, you don't understand all the concepts to be able to do that well, so you're probably gonna mess up. It's not gonna be as fluid and smooth as you'd like. So treat AI a kid that you have to tell instructions to, because it won't do it the way you want it to do unless you literally tell it the steps.
One small thing I wanted to add, which is I know so many engineers who've been in the industry, worked at Google and DoorDash and all these big tech companies, would have never built their own website or like built something from start to finish because they're more so specialists. And this is more so showing the power of like what's possible, because now you don't need to know all the different programming languages and frameworks and servers and databases. You can just focus on the idea and iterate way faster. So that's kind of what's possible now that wasn't previously possible. And that surprised me to know these people who have been engineers and like web developers and worked at some of the biggest tech companies who really thought it was a daunting experience to make their own site, and then now showing them platforms like this, they're like, that does more than I could do.
Before you had to type all of this
Yeah.
by hand, like
Every
every
single
single line. So you had to actually know what was happening here. So now like AI is helping you automate all of that, so you can get to 0 to 1 quickly.
I think we're we're just at time, so we
Yeah.
can wrap it up. But again, please check out our club website, ustnexus.club. Share that with your friends. You can sign up for the Tommy link on there if you're not already signed up. But yeah, please share this with your friends. We want to make and run really impactful and like useful events. We're not trying to be a club that has like clout or whatever. Like we want this to be useful for you, and we want it to like last through the years and generations, so that like it can keep going. And all of our sessions are actually going to be recorded and like hopefully uploaded on Weldon's like YouTube clone. So like if you didn't come to the first session, it'll like be uploaded. We did a Q&A with OpenAI employee who's my friend Tara. She's awesome. She goes to MIT. So please feel free to check that out. And then here's our names of the people. Obviously, like the business and finance people want to help you and like probably can too. But if you have specific coding questions, like feel free to reach out to like kind of the coding half of the club. And finally, our first hackathon is going to be in February. I want to say is it the 20th? The 20th. So please tell your friends about that. Have them come to the club. And yeah, just thank you so much for showing up.
And just one last thing, like before we kind of wrap up, I just want to say if your friends are kind of doubtful about, hey, what is this club? Just tell them that everybody is using AI. Everybody is coming in every field. So before you graduate, come into college to start your career, it's best to have the latest knowledge and skills to be equipped and like to go and enter your workforce and like know what you're doing and be more productive than others. It makes you stand out a lot more.
In any major, like we have finance, you have probably biology, writing, like anything you're doing, AI can be integrated into that.
Thank you for coming.
And there's some more pizza if you want more pizza. I'm electrical, yeah, so I did like before I started college, I learned to code, and a lot of like electrical and coding go really together. So like electrical sounds for like wiring stuff, there's actually a lot of in electrical.
There's a dude outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah, just do it for a hobby. You get a lot. Not every Thursday, but if you join the Tommy Link and our Instagram, we post when it's gonna be. So we want events to be high quality, so we like spend time planning it. I know, but okay. Yeah, and we're gonna try and like maybe do like a different time and a different day, because we know everyone, all the clubs choose hot hour because it's when people are in 3 but then it makes you have to choose. So yes, of course.
I'd say experience.